There we go. Let me make sure this is working. Awesome, it's working. This is more of a different way of doing this. Hmm. Leave me alone. Oh, cool. Mm-hmm. Settings. Not on camera. Oh, you can set up green screen too? Awesome. Mm. And how do I do this? Share screen? Hmm. How about we go here? YouTube. Double toasted. Will that work? Oh, wow. This is actually pretty cool. Yeah, it'll be easier with two screens. Hmm. Ooh, I'm upgrading my shit. Ooh. Ooh. Sort of a different sort of a feel, though. I'm doing it the other time. It doesn't really matter if somebody's on or watching. This sort of is inner reflecting. Ooh. Let's try to see if we can do it anyway. Let me see something else. Does it show? Oh, that's cool. That's cool. What about if I were to do that? See. Hmm. Is it showing that? No, I don't think so. Okay, cool. I like that. That's cool. A little protection. All right, so let's talk about something here. Let's see if it's still up. First of all, let's see if it's still up. There's something I wanted to talk about real quick, even if I'm talking to myself. This. So
we had to just be honest with each other. We have people that sometimes
there's a interesting thing here. Hoping somebody joins, but you know how this goes. Let me see something else. If I were to go here? Does it show me that I'm live? Yes, it does. But it doesn't have a photo. No. This is interesting. So, visibility? No. What about? No. There we go. Oh. Entertainment, yes. Yes. Yeah, I like that thumbnail. Hey, who's joining the stream? It's not like I have a whole bunch of people watching. Oh, Lord. So I just want to talk about something real quick. Several things, actually. But, oh, okay. So it does show like StreamYard or StreamYard logo in here as well. Interesting. So I wanted to say something for the record. Probably not that many people are gonna see this. But anyways. So I'm gonna talk about taking over our cultural or closing the cultural doors, right? So a little bit of background. So first of all, this is doubletoasted.com, right? So if you don't know doubletoasted.com used to be, or at least the members of this used to be a part of spill.com. And before even spill.com, these two individuals, Corey and the other individual, Martin, were on public access television together, sort of doing a show as well. Or at least I think. Don't quote me on that. But I thought they were together on that show as well. Doing public access stuff. But they're sort of the OGs of movie reviews, right? So what the hell does this have to do with Black empowerment or anything like that? We'll get to it. So they're like the OGs of movie reviews. So every single person that you see, Chris Stockman, all these people, any sort of movie reviewer that you possibly can ever even imagine on YouTube, every single one of them, who, especially if they have over, let's say if they have over 250,000 followers, they used to watch spill.com, right? So let me be clear about my understanding of spill.com. I used to watch spill.com a long time ago when you actually had to go to spill.com in order to hear the reviews. They had they did the animated stuff on YouTube way back in the day, but for me, I was mostly watching their audio stuff, their audio streams that they were doing. So they were basically the originals of movie podcasting to a certain degree, movie podcasting in the form of reviews. So let's be clear about my understanding of these individuals. So let me see if I can go here. Let me see if it'll allow me to go here. It should. So, right, we're going to go here to my Amazon account. We're going to go to American Skin. I already did this before. We're going to go to American Skin. Hey, what's going on, Isis? Let me know if you want to join. That would be cool. But I'm going to go over here to American Skin. Oh, come on. What happened? You couldn't find American Skin. Let's go to reviews. Okay, perfect. So let's go to reviews. Let's go to 1-star reviews of this because I hated this film. Oh, and look at what you see. You see my review right there. And you see this right here. This is from January of 2021. So this is not like some new stuff that I'm saying here. And this is pretty long. I'm glad a large amount of people were riding with me on this because this movie was complete trash in many ways, many ways. That shitty fucking ending they had and everything. But as you can see right here, under the old spill.com rating system, this will be given a big fuck you. So this is what I'm talking about when I say spill.com. We're talking about sort of the originators. Now, I have my issues. I have my issues with everybody. I don't believe anybody is perfect. Wait, pause. I don't think anybody's perfect in any way, shape, fashion, or form, right? So, you know, if anybody's saying something, I'm going to always have critiques. And I have critiques of Double Toasted that I'm not going to share here. But this segment that they're talking about the TikToker strike is very interesting, very interesting. And it does play in. So there's a longer narrative, as you already know. There's always a longer story here. So we're here on the TikTokers thing, but I think there is it on here? Did they put it on their main page? Hold on. See, I always keep the receipts in my mind at the very least. Let me see, because there was an issue where they got copyright strike. Yeah, there we go. So is it there or is it earlier? They got copyright strike because they decided to put up a F9 review. And then shortly thereafter, like because they had like a woman's behind in the review that was a part of the movie, and she was fully clothed. It was a part of the movie trailer or something like that, and they decided to show that they got a strike or guideline strike or something like that. And if you look at their subscribership, like let me put this in perspective. So if you look at their subscribership, you only see 211,000, right? Let's go to Chris Stockman, who's been on their platform before. Let's see how many subscribers Chris has, right? Or Stuckman, right? So he has 1.93 million, and he is a spill.com fan. Who is some other movie reviewers? Let's see. Movie reviewers. Let's see. How big is the market out here? Watch Mojo. I bet you they know him. Jeremy Johns. I'm fairly confident he knows spill.com. 1.78 million views. Angry Joe. I am fairly confident Angry Joe knows something about spill.com. And Double Toasted, 3.27 million views. But to be fair, he does gaming content as well, though. Sort of dabbled into that. Double Toasted sort of dabbled into that. We won't talk about Grace. Grace is just annoying. Ever since that Beast of No Nation review that she did, I don't fuck with her anymore. Yeah, I'm an old man with a whole bunch of grudges. Anyways, so let me see here. So you see all these movie reviewers out here, and I guarantee you every last single one of them knows about spill.com, and therefore everybody sort of knows about Double Toasted. But does Double Toasted have that many subscribers? No, they don't, because they don't get trended on YouTube at all. No matter what they do, they don't get trended. So what's happening here is that this whole Double Toasted thing started after spill.com sort of went away. And Corey did a GoFundMe basically amongst those subscribers to try to see whether or not they would like to bring back Double Toasted, because on spill.com they had the main review, and then they had like some of the core mini groupings of people, right? They would like get together and group off and have sort of like a mini sort of reviews or something like that, sort of like a variety hour. Another one was like was it Corey and Robot? The little robot person was on there. That guy was hilarious. But anyways, so they did a GoFundMe to start this channel, right? When Spill.com went away, and you would think that would lead to a large amount of fan base here, an expanded fan base, but it didn't really do that, right? So Corey has been pushing out content. He's had multiple guests on. We're not going to talk about Gertz and that whole debacle that he had with that other guy, the other Corey and EA. That's a horrible little situation that happened. As you can see, I haven't really been watching their stuff and their content that frequently because I've been on my grudge with them for the most part, but it seems like they've gotten back on track. So we're going to talk about nigga wake up calls. So it seems like because Corey has been running this channel, you know, as a business, obviously, right? And so YouTube is one of the major revenue streams that they have for the business, right? And so a content strike, which I believe they're now on their second, right? They had a copyright strike for something stupid. They had the guideline strike. So I think they're either on strike number 2, if my count's correct, or at least strike number 1. And if they get another strike, then their channel could possibly be deleted. And so if you look at all of this content they pump out content. I'll give them that. Like, we're not talking about like, this is just 5 months ago. I'm scrolling through. This page has been up for years. The amount of videos that they have up is quite astonishing because they put out a large amount of content, right? So that content supports a large amount of people behind the scenes. So a copyright strike that represents about 50% of your revenue is very interesting how they handle that, but obviously it's threatening. But a large amount of some of the stuff that they've been saying, I'm saying, I'm tired of slave movies and stuff like that. Like, you could tell that, like, in my opinion, that they've been, thinking that they've gotten around too many white friends to a certain degree. No offense of being all inclusive, but they have to be representative of who they are in the space. I think that identity issue has caused a problem in their ability to come across as genuine. But that's that and the review, that and the Punisher review season 1, where Corey didn't watch the whole damn thing and was doing a review talking about something that was horrible. Season 2 sucked. Season 1 was pretty fucking good of Punisher. So that's just my opinion, but whatever. So we come here to this content strike things that's been happening, and he's staring down the barrel of possibly losing his channel and losing a large amount of revenue that comes in that supports his business with regards to this. So this sort of hit ahead with the little TikTokers thing. So let's go here, and you can understand why I gave you that preface and why this is sort of important, because these things that we talk about in DA and as descendants of American slaves and this FBA, I don't know. I don't really want to shout out FBA and their "we are all maroons" bullshit, or we don't have to worry about law until it's convenient for Tariq Nasheed to talk about law. Oh, now it's time to talk about law. No, white supremacy is a supremacy of law. It's legally codified. You can't separate the two. You have to understand law. And if the legal system changes, it does directly impact white supremacy. But that's a whatever rabbit hole. But anyways, what we're talking about in these spaces about the effects of white supremacy, you think it wouldn't affect this black-owned network with a whole bunch of black guys who sort of try to ignore to a certain degree, not fully. I'm not going to say that they're punks like that, but they try to ignore and try to give out flavorless content, entertainment content, without a consistent perspective, right? And you think it wouldn't affect them, but no. You're going to hear here some talking points where it seems like Corey has not only been listening to a couple of people. It looks like Corey has been listening to Irami Osei Frumpah, and it also looks like Corey has been listening to Tariq Nasheed, right? So I'm just going to let it play, and we can talk about it.
sure if all of you.
Hold on, let me.
At this moment, this is exactly what we're talking about. Not only burying history, but
doing it badly.
doing it badly. Somebody needs to bury that. But also,
How good looking girls are was awful.
but appropriation is a huge part of that.
Can you hear now?
Hey everyone, support our Patreon, which helps us to continue bringing you our live streams, videos, and podcasts while bringing you new content such as exclusive live streams and animated shorts. I was asking these guys, they haven't heard about it, so this is going to be real cool to get their reactions to what we're talking about right now. But how many of you guys out there have heard about the strike on TikTok right now? There's a big thing that happened on TikTok at the moment. And I'm not sure if all of you have heard about it, but I'll go ahead and let you know where it is. So, so a bunch of black TikTokers, a lot, huge amount, decided to go on strike. They decided that we are not going to be doing dance videos anymore. We're not going to be creating dance trends anymore. And they pulled out. They're still not doing it right now. And it's funny because the moment that they left, you know, TikTok, their videos are like 60 seconds or less.
Yeah.
It took about 60 seconds or less for white people just to lose their rhythm. It was like when all the black TikTokers left, it was like white people just started moving funny. Started getting off all beat and shit. Like, what happened to our power?
Sounds like how The Last of Us started, but
yeah, people. It was like you feel a brand new day. It was almost like a white apocalypse that happened with dancing. Man, they
Turned to zombies.
yeah, they
Hey,
all,
ISIS, you want to join?
the zombies got rhythm.
yeah, you've seen Thriller.
Yeah, these fools just start bumping into each other and shit. Hands are hitting each other. Like, what happened? Where did all the black people go? I'm not bullshitting. Not bullshitting at all. White people just start. Now, this is not an anti-white thing right here. Stick with me. But this is a thing. Because that's what people gonna think. It's real. It is extremely real. And and if you don't believe me, TikTokers out there are documenting it themselves. They said, who needs those? Man, we'll do it ourselves.
About this.
Yeah. You just start doing jumping jacks and shit.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it has been hilarious and it has been sad. So what happened is the latest hit, Thought Shit, from Megan Thee Stallion dropped. And TikTok was ready for the new trend out there. White people just waiting on their phone. Here we go. Where should they go?
Is that the spirit sign come out there? And then it's like hands in the hands in the
Yeah, people, it's crazy. They just all left, and you know, and I'm gonna tell you how this is a thing. Because the way it started is that there was one TikTok dancer out there. He put out a lot of videos. Now, this is a box right here. I forgot to capture this video, but I want y'all to look at this because there's one TikToker. He waited. He's like, oh, I know y'all can't wait for me to put my shit out there. And the moment that they got about 2 seconds in, like, psych, and just walked out. Now the white people are like,
Oh, that's
shit,
the
I
new.
like that move. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how bad it is. Exactly. That.
Come on now. It wasn't even a dance.
Yeah, exactly.
That shit ran with it. Got 900K views.
Exactly.
People are straight up down out and stealing. And
So that's what they always do, man. We innovate. They market and steal, right? So we start the shit, and then they come around and sell the shit for us under their name, right? So there's a hermetic reason why that occurs, right? So when you're talking about creation, when you're talking about that energy of creation, right? You're talking about a balance, right? Let's say a human being is supposed to create to a certain degree in their lifespan, right? If you have artificial forces like white supremacy that artificially hampers a person's ability to create by, for instance, I don't know, making them institutionally impoverished or generationally impoverished, such that they are hampered or they don't have the ability to create in the same way. When they finally do have small spurts of outlets to create, they exude greatness, right? That's what happens, right? So, for instance, when you can see that easily on the athletic side of things, but pretty much every single time you have a black person, let me be very clear, descendant of American slaves, who has an avenue to do something, we always, for lack of a better term, shit greatness on a regular basis. So it's very easy for us to be able to shit out that greatness. And so they know that, right? So, for instance, on my job that I currently have right now, my manager has told me, and I've written this down just in case anything happens, but my manager has told me that the reason why I got hired was because I was black and I wasn't Indian. He said that basically Desi this is the conversation we had. He said that Desi is the equivalent of the N-word. And to us, and he was like, "You're not just like a regular Desi. You're somebody who comes from a different culture, right? And so that culture that you come from, we really want to take advantage of that on this team. We think that you can bring another cultural influence to the team, as opposed to, basically he thought that I was going to be an angry Negro." And so that's the reason why he thinks that me being an angry Negro is going to somehow fix all the problems that my job has institutionally. But that's how they view us. They view us as the people who can come in to do those types of things, right? So in this particular situation, it's funny how, even though we're talking about something ratchet, in my opinion, we're talking about the low belly of our culture, the toe jam, the belly button lint of our culture. Even that is inspirational and possibly a multi-million or possibly even a multi-billion dollar, if you think about the valuation that they bring to a company like TikTok by driving viewership and participation on that application, right? And then advertising. Even at the bottom, we still generate billions of dollars with the bottom of our culture, with the shit of our culture, with the waste and excrement of our culture. We still benefit others to the tune of billions of dollars. And what he's going to talk about is basically, and he's talking about a little bit, which is basically what happens when we take that away. Even at the shitty side of things, we take that away. And what you'll get as a part of this conversation, I'm waiting to get to the 11-minute mark because that's when it gets serious. You're talking about people who are in Austin, Texas, right? Corey is married to a white woman. This needs to be said. And it's not that he's out there doing reckless things representing black people. But, he has that little syndrome where he's like, I don't see color type thing a little bit. You can sort of see a little bit of that in him until one of his black friends steps up and sort of
puts a battery in his back to be a little bit more pro-black. You know what I'm saying? There were some other things where he did represent 100%, where he was like, hey, if my viewers think I'm going to support this type of fuckery, if you think that I'm going to not represent black people on this stupidness, you've got me fucked up. He has had those moments. I'm not saying that. But for the most part, when it comes down to reviewing black films, when it comes down to sort of having a perspective about black people or descendants of American slaves or our culture in America more specifically, and bringing that into his reviews or critiques, he typically shies away from that. And I think that's to his detriment. That's my opinion. But because he shies away from that, right, is very, or makes fun of it in many cases, you don't really peg him as a person who is pro-black. But again, this is his nigger wake-up call. YouTube basically gave him that. So yeah, this video is sort of on the dovetails of that, where he's now realizing, oh, okay, this is what y'all doing just to black people.
I know people gonna think, because here you go trying to make us feel bad again. No, man, this shit has been going on. The reason why, let me ask you, what do you think about this so far?
I don't know that I have an opinion on it. I mean, honestly, I only look at TikTok for comedy stuff, so I didn't even know like these dancing things were a thing.
Well, let me tell you why this is such a big deal.
Okay.
Because a lot of these dancers, they put those dances out there.
Yeah.
They influence all these other people to anywhere from borrow to steal the dances.
Okay.
Once they do.
He's talking about mostly himself in this particular situation. He's talking about his platform. What he originally started with Spill.com. In my opinion, that's what he's talking about. And he's talking about the other movie reviewers who now have millions and millions of subscribers and easily are able to do the craft that he originated as the black man. But that's my own personal interpretation of this. But take it as you will as you hear this.
Do that. Advertisers, brand deals, guest appearances on shows, go to them.
Yeah, not to the people.
Not to the original people. So some of these people who stole these moves, whether they did it on purpose or not, or whether they did it knowing that they did that or not, they become millionaires.
Sure.
And then the person who made the dance, like, nobody paid me. Nobody came to ask me to be on the show. Nobody even asked me. The video is right there. Nobody even came to ask me, hey, did you do this? You know, they get totally ignored. That's what happened on Jimmy Fallon recently. Jimmy Fallon.
Oh, this is horrible.
Invited Addison Rae. She invited this TikTok on there, Addison Rae, invited her on to come in and just kind of just low energy do the dances. And several of these dances were stolen from several people out there. Yeah, low energy.
Maybe the idea is that to make people feel like they could do it too.
I don't know. The idea was that
oh God, there was so much mayonnaise on that dance.
They want to get the young demographic ratings, so they just
all mayonnaise, a little bit of salt, no pepper, raisins. What kind of shit was that?
Yeah, I look at that and I go, okay, this is why I don't watch Jimmy Fallon.
Right, but he's not the only one doing it. There's a lot of places that are doing this, you know. Because I just can't blame Jimmy Fallon. I don't even blame him personally because all he does, he has a writing crew. You know, they go in, they just do research, and they just try to pick up on things that are trendy. He's not the only one that does it. That's neither him nor his staff should be like not held accountable.
You're right. I blame him because these don't translate off of the goddamn phone or the camera, off the TikTok.
Yeah,
You put them on stage and do them. It looks like, okay, what am I watching? What am I watching?
Yeah,
Is this a community talent show?
Yeah,
exactly.
Isn't that the appeal of TikTok? That it's like lo-fi kind of looking, you know? Like,
Right.
it looks like something that's spur of the moment.
Cut things and that kind of thing. Not just getting on stage and doing it with
Right.
cards. Nobody wants to see that shit.
It's so unlike TikTok.
yeah.
Like TikTok
They're
is
like, damn.
people in their living rooms doing this thing. Yeah, giant stage with
You're like,
celebrities.
Right. And lights and
Hey, TikTok was perfect during COVID because the people were at home and they could do a little thing.
They're creating entertainment for each other.
It's like I'm looking at this like, damn, somebody give this chick somebody give her a Red Bull or some cocaine or something. Anything. Should shoot the ground.
That wouldn't help. None of that would help. None of that would help.
Yeah, man.
Is there a way for these people to copyright these dance moves?
That's what they're talking about now.
Yeah,
They're saying, you
they
know what?
should.
At this point, people have not thought about copyrighting memes and dances, but damn, now it needs to be done.
Sure.
Because listen, man, this has been happening for years, and nobody has really listened. I've been talking about this, and every time somebody
I'll go a little bit. Copyright isn't the solution to that. Closing the cultural doors is a solution to that. Making it no longer acceptable for cultural appropriation is a little bit more effective. Empowering what would normally be large corporations and their attorneys to now start copywriting dance moves, or having that be extended to just motions of the body, is not necessarily going to do anything except for give those people in a power position more tools to go after somebody else. But whatever.
talks about it, up until recent times, every time somebody talked about it, it was anywhere from stop complaining or nah, that's not real, or yeah, so what? Shut the fuck up. Yeah, we did it. You know,
two tears and bucket fuck.
yeah, exactly. We've been seeing for years how the biggest influences on culture have been black culture. It's been black people
See,
have had a huge impact on culture. I say some of the biggest impact on popular culture that we have here.
see, what's going on is this is us winning to a certain degree, right? When we have people who are normally and largely in white spheres, right, who could easily run away from their blackness, all right, and say, well, I have majority white audiences, so I don't have to pick up every single day on black issues, right? When they start closing the cultural doors themselves because they see how they're being fucked over, that's when you know the core is being expanded to the general, right? What normally is something that's discussed on an Yvette Carnell, which is Yvette Carnell, pause. Yvette Carnell needs to be put on a milk carton at this point. Like, where the fuck is that zoot suit wearing heifer? Like, where is Yvette Carnell? Like, where is where is old Chopper Suit? Where the fuck is Yvette Carnell? We need to find this up. I think she invested in Dogecoin, got her reparations, and said fuck everybody. But anyways, when you have people, you know what I'm saying, when you start off with core fanatics, right, in a certain area, right, which do a large amount of groundwork and a large amount of core political work and sort of they lay a large amount of the social groundwork for a movement. But you can't really gauge the success of such movements. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying it's all about Yvette Carnell. I mean, there's a large amount of people who contributed. In certain cases, they contributed via conflict. But you can't really gauge the effectiveness of such movements because they usually burn out, right? They start in the core and they burn out with the core. But when you have people who are normally on the periphery start adopting your language and your ideas and your framework, which is worse, your framework, which means that they're using it to be predictive in their lives, then that's when you know that your movement is starting to work. And the whole idea of Black empowerment, the whole idea of white supremacy being the core of everything in America. And if you are a descendant of American slaves, you are subject to the ill effects of white supremacy, regardless of how much you want to try to not be a part of white supremacy or not be affected by it, no matter how many white friends you want to have or target white audiences for your platforms, like I think Double Toasted did to a certain degree. That won't save you. It won't save you from that nigger wake up call. So let's hear what he just said again, so we can, because this is important. Again, this is the Black at the periphery. This is the Black with the white wife. This is the Black in Austin, Texas. This is the Black person with a whole bunch of white friends who could easily just say, "Fuck Black issues. I'm dissolving myself into adopted whiteness and abandoning issues associated with race." Right? He could easily do that. but he's not able to so easily do that because, there are moments where he still advocates for black people, but it seems like it's now biting him in the ass.
Have been black culture. It's been black people have had a huge impact on culture. I say some of the biggest impact on popular culture that we have here. Not all of it, but dance, music, and
podcasting.
We
started that.
Yeah, 100%. No, but we've been saying this for years, man. We always get our shit stolen. Always. It happened back then. It happens now. Just ask Pat Boone about that. Ask Elvis. Everybody wanted to defend Elvis. Fuck Elvis, man. I don't care what people say. I don't care how he got there. Stole from people who would never get paid for it.
Blue Suede Shoes is a black woman singing.
Yeah. Led Zeppelin, Rolling Stones. I'm naming all the suspects, but there's so much more.
No.
Vanilla Ice, Miley Cyrus.
Oh.
Beethoven, I even heard was probably black. They whitewash him, possibly. Goes all the way to classic music. Let's not even talk about, so many things. I'm just bringing up the usual suspects. Forget about even all the people outside of music who have had an impact on science, who've had an impact on so many other things that help shape society as far as what we need to survive and live, besides just entertainment.
To be honest, I don't know
so
who
many,
that is.
man, for years they've been doing it, and people are either blind to it, they don't know that's happening. Like I said, they have taught us to hurt things, to hate things that we have created.
Like rock and roll.
They taught us to turn around and hate rock and roll. They taught us to turn around and hate jazz. They taught us to turn around and hate ourselves so that they could run with it. And we started that shit.
Exactly.
Now all these dance moves are being taken, but now the reason why people are calling bullshit on that is because everything moves quicker on the internet. And you can see it the next day. People saw that. Like I wasn't joking when I said they sucked all the soul out of TikTok.
Sure.
It was the next day. Am I crazy for saying that?
No. That's you're right. That moves super fast.
This is what we see happen. They saw immediately what happens when we take a step back. It wasn't that easy to do because you had a lot of people who were there to shut the door and push everybody out once the shit was taken. And I'm bringing this up because, I'm not one to sit back and play a victim.
Oh, here
I'm not
we go.
one to even complain. I'm not one to ask me for anything that I haven't deserved. I'm not one to point fingers, but
AKA, I was a go along, get along Negro until y'all kept on fucking with me. That's basically what he just said.
I had a talk today with another person. I'm not going to say who they are, but after seeing this whole story about this TikTok strike, I just said, man, you know what? I never want to say this, but do you get the feeling that if you were not black, mainly white, do you get the feeling that you would actually be doing a lot better? And we talked about it.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Watch that moment on Martin's face where he lights the fuck up at that statement. It's okay. So for the white people who saw this, if you're watching my shit, which I don't know if you are or not, who cares if you are or not? But if for the white people who saw this, you probably just thought to yourself, oh, okay, well, he's really frustrated. For the black people who saw this fucking moment, I was like, oh shit, he talking about like he's having an inside the family conversation in public. Like he's having the real conversation that we have about this type of shit in open air. Like he's letting everybody know that this is how he truly feels. He's airing out some shit right now. Right? Because I know that they've had that conversation. So when I saw Martin's face light the fuck up, when I saw his face like, oh, he clearly, he had the exact same fucking expression on his fucking face. He had the exact same motherfucking expression on his face. Like, oh shit, we gonna talk about some real shit now.
If you were not black, mainly white, do you get the feeling that you would actually be doing a lot better? And we talked about it, and he was like, you know what, I'm not the kind of person that wants to call that either, but yeah, man. It's like, and you've seen it too. And we had to just be honest with each other. We have people that sometimes help. And look, I'm not saying I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm not saying that I'm doing bad. I can't even prove any of that except for a couple experiences that I had. We talked about how we would go to conventions and we work with representatives, and they sit down sometimes and they say, hey, try doing this and try doing that. Oh, let me see what you're doing here to make you to do better. And they'll look at it and be like, well, shit, I don't know. You're doing everything right. I don't know what it could be. And we're just like, and my friends like, yeah, elephant in the room, man.
Oh, yeah, put this calamine lotion on.
Yeah, I mean, it just makes me wonder, man. It's like, with where they tell you, we talked about this too. Hey, put your face on the thumbnails. I'll do better. Like, oh shit, wait a minute.
Oh, not your face.
Yeah.
Do it the 5 heartbeats of a white family on the top of the record.
Just let me
course
pause.
not.
Let me pause. I don't want to take away from the conversation, but just in case you don't know who this is, how do I do this? I'll just do it directly. So his brother is somebody who you know. So his brother is this guy. That's his brother. That's his brother.
He was laughing at me.
Keep saying your house. That marriage license says our house.
It was bad enough that he had taken all my money, but here he was laughing.
How much? That's straight. That's straight, bitch.
And he wouldn't leave.
That's his brother. So just in case you don't know, you know what I'm saying?
Heartbeats of a white family on the top of the record.
Of course not. I didn't say, all music, but when I say a large majority of pop culture, and yes, that's a lot of things that people don't want to admit because it makes people feel bad. It makes people feel like you're attacking them. Nobody's attacking anything. But man, when they say that they don't want to teach, because I fuck critical race theory, they just don't want to teach you history.
See?
They just don't want to teach about, how things, whether it be music or whether it be the hard-earned wealth that certain
Yvette and Tone.
societies and cities and towns have had. Those have been snatched and taken away, and nobody wants to talk about it. Now these TikTokers had to finally come in because people were telling them for the longest time, man, shut up, man. Why can't you appreciate that people appreciate what you're doing?
Sure.
Because you get paid and I don't.
Yeah.
And it just makes it really put your head, man, because it makes you think like, well, shit, possibly that is happening to me. Could I be better? I don't know, man. I don't know. It really does mess with your head. Yeah, I don't know. And then you get people like, I don't know, I'll just say a YouTuber come in and say, we want to help black creators. And then they'll come in and demonetize this video. Because I'm throwing some truth out there that makes advertisers uncomfortable.
Well, those dance moves are copyrighted, Corey. You can't just be putting those on your YouTube video.
Oh, I know. Well, I got a black pass on that.
I thought you did all that ass you did.
Yeah, all that ass. Yeah, now if I was to hit that pole and go down the hill and give Satan a lap dance,
I'm curious if there is like a precedent of like copywriting stuff like this, like dance moves and stuff, because now it's much easier to find out where that stuff came from with TikTok and the internet. So you can really this.
Gert, if I doubt you're ever watching this, but you just completely derailed the conversation. You have 3 black men talking about something of very, very large substance with a very, very long history. And you just redirected back to the most, how do I put it? The most insignificant part of this story in order to redirect the conversation. That's why he's dejected. Well, he may be just looking at his phone, but you just sucked the energy out of the conversation by adding this little quip. You should have just been silent or directly address the actual conversation at hand.
This originated from this. This person created this. Mm-hmm. They should get their due. I don't know. I don't know if there's a precedent for it or not.
Somebody said you can't copyright ideas. That Disney does it all the time.
It's all the time.
Yeah, you can. You totally can.
Yeah, you can completely do that.
Yeah.
Somebody says it's even worse. Malcolm says, there are times when we're even shamed for what we do, only for other people to come and take it. and be like, oh my God, that is so cool. Where'd you get that from? Oh, I just some of those I picked up.
Yeah, right. It came to me one day
Yeah.
when I was surfing the internet and saw other people doing it.
I call it the twerk.
When black people were doing that, it was like disgusting.
That's so
Exactly.
nasty.
Miley Cyrus does in one video. It's like then this all she does for
Yeah, just see, this is how you chime in, Gertz. So in this particular situation, let's say there's an office party and we have Kathy and we have Shaquisha, right? And Kathy hears a rap song from the 90s of when she was busting that thing open for everybody. And she decides that she's going to twerk at the company get together, the company dinner, right? Nobody at the company is going to look at Kathy like she's a ratchet whore doing something inappropriate. They're actually probably even going to think of her as, oh, she's down with those people. She's probably excellent managerial material if we need to have managers over those niggers we have. I mean, those black people we have at our company, right? She's the perfect person. Look at her. Look at how she twerks. She's down with those people. That's what they would think. Now, let's say Shaquisha decides to do the exact same thing. Let's say Shaquisha decides to bust it open real quick. You know what I'm saying? Let's say even Shaquisha ain't busting it open. Let's say she ain't busting it open. Let's just say she's doing a little one-legged twerk. You know what I'm saying? She's just making it move a little bit. That's all. She ain't really doing it. She ain't going in like she normally could, right? All of a sudden, she's a whore. Oh, my God. I can't believe she was doing that. That's completely inappropriate, blah, 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 blah. White people can normalize our culture better than we can, especially when they want to monetize it. That's pathetic. That should not be what it is in any way, shape, fashion, or form. But that is the way it is, right? So even at the low side.
Years, she rode that train.
Somebody said, what's critical race theory? Critical race theory is a way of looking at it. It's an academic, this way, it's an academic
Iron Me.
approach.
He's been listening to Iron Me.
The systemic racism that has gone throughout history, but still has an effect on things today, such as the law, how people are prosecuted, incarcerated.
Iron Me.
Jobs. Anything from it's still ingrained in buying homes, getting loans, education mainly, and also
move up the corporate ladder.
Yep. Or not trying to bury history, but trying to correct it by bringing out things that America has tried to hide. And it's the boogeyman of the week because people are using that to say that it is itself racist.
Right.
And it's right up there with the Klan, some people say.
Right.
Whereas really it's like, hey, man, let's go ahead and quit playing one side. Let's go ahead and bring some truth out so that we can actually make this country a lot better. It has nothing to do about making anybody feel bad. It's about trying to make everything, including ourselves, better. By the way, they say that these are lies. These are corrupting people. These are corrupting, brains with false history. When at the same time, those very same people who was trying to, by the way, people who are talking about cancel culture is terrible. By the way, cancel all this history right here.
Right,
yeah. So anyone hear it? Yeah. Those same people are actually trying to say slaves were volunteer workers.
Right.
Yeah.
States' rights.
And they were happy. They got taken care of.
Yeah.
And they had jobs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But job security. Job security. Because you never lose that job.
Yeah.
Unless you got souls.
Yeah.
Right.
Don't try to go up here and tell me how this is racist and it's all this kind of shit, because we see it happening right here with all these TikTokers right here.
Yeah, don't teach that critical race theory. But hey, stop taking down Confederate statues.
Right. And Martin, not sold, transferred.
Oh, Lord. Lord.
Right. You got to transfer. We move you to the home office.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, the big home office? I get to be in the big office.
Yeah, man.
Big home office.
Hey, get out of here.
You're working abroad.
Yeah.
Moving up the whole corporate slave ladder.
You be working abroad. Way the fuck out that field over there. Corporate slave ladder.
Yeah, one day I'm going to get in the house. If I work hard.
Just slow down.
Yeah. We see it happening right now at this moment. This is exactly what we're talking about. Not only burying history, but
doing it badly.
Doing it badly. Somebody needs to bury that. But also,
how good looking them girls are. That was awful.
But appropriation is a huge part of that. That is a huge part of that, because when people don't know, if you don't know the history of how this culture has been stolen from over and over and over again. And by the way, nobody wants to know it because
Let me put this in perfect, even better perspective when it comes down to Spill.com and Double Toasted. One of the writers from Doctor Strange is a person who was on Spill.com, the ensemble of cast members that they had for Spill.com, right? Or contributors and critiquers that they had for Spill.com. He's one of the writers for Doctor Strange, right? So everybody else has gone on to some level of success, right? He's still doing the same thing that is the foundation of other success, but he's not. His channel has not been able to get that level of success on YouTube, even though everybody knows Spill.com and everybody knows Double Toasted. If you know Spill.com, if you went to Spill.com, you know Double Toasted. So it's very frustrating. It's very frustrating. But anyways.
no one in history wants to be the bad guy, right?
Nobody wants to be the bad guy. Nobody wants to lose their power. I mean, we
Yeah,
always glaze over that part. That's a huge part of it.
No, that's completely.
You know,
That's completely. They don't want to. That is why they did what they're doing now with critical race theory. And again, this is just history, man. I don't give a fuck about that term because that's what they do. I keep telling you.
See that part right there. You already know exactly who that comes from. You already know exactly who that comes from. That part right there is 100% Tariq Nasheed, right? That is 100% Tariq Nasheed. So he's been watching Iron Man. He's been watching Yvette and Tone, and he's been watching Tariq Nasheed. That's a Tariq Nasheed talking point, right? So I can tell all this shit. So when you start affecting people at the periphery of your movement, that shows you that the framework, what it really is not really the catchiness of the movement. It's the functionality of the framework that you're distributing, right? So if you're distributing a functional framework, right, saying, hey, it doesn't matter how hard you work. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter how often you want to try this. It doesn't matter how much ass you kiss. If you're Black, or more specifically a descendant of American slaves, you're not going to be as successful as your white counterpart, period. Doesn't matter how often you try that, you're not going to be as successful as your white counterpart. And that is the way it is. Now, when you have that framework at first, you have people who subscribe to the conservative ideals, or in this case, he's liberal, but still the sort of white sourced ideals of, well, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, right? Why is mine? Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Why is this thing on? It shouldn't be on. But you sort of start to subscribe to that sort of an ethos, right? But when you have that framework come in and you start seeing evidence, right? The framework is just sitting there, you know, in a closet in your mind, and you're saying, "Oh, that's not functional." And then every single thing that you come in, you compare it to that framework in the back of your mind, and thinking to yourself, "Oh, it did predict this. Oh, it did predict that. Oh, it did predict this. Oh, I worked my ass off, and they're still trying to do whatever they're doing. Oh, okay. Well, this really sucks. You know what I'm saying? I can't really grow like this, right?" So when you have that framework and it becomes useful, the problem is that, or at least for the system that framework exposes, the problem is for them that you have a whole bunch of people who are affected by your actions, who, hold on one second, I'm trying to get this. What's this large ass fly out of here? Some sort of horse fly is coming in. I think he's up. Yeah, he's up. So the problem is when you have that type of framework become useful to other people, they don't easily give it up. right? And when you have people who are on or in a media space, right? Them subscribing or ascribing to a certain framework that's dangerous or destructive to your power structure is not good. So let me link it in with a conspiracy theory model, which is this. YouTube has access to all of his watch history. Let me go to another point.
They'll take it.
There we go. Has access to all of his watch history. So if they started, what if they already saw that, oh, this guy is watching Army, this guy is watching Tariq, this guy is watching Professor Black Truth, this guy is watching the Black Authority. Oh no, we've elevated him to this quasi somewhat state of power, and now he is basically watching all of these unapproved black radicals that we have in our program. How long before he starts spouting their rhetoric on his media platform? That's not good. We don't want that. And so you have the preemptive content strikes that would never really happen to other people. It probably would just be a warning or something. But for him, it's content strikes and guideline strikes and stuff like that. So you have to factor all that stuff in when you're talking about YouTube, because YouTube has access to all of that information and all of that data. That's literally how he makes his money. But yeah.
Yeah. And somehow, yep, and they'll just use it to just drop a 1-word, a 3-word thing, a term, and then just move on. It's just history, man. It's simply racism. It's simply history. And what they're doing right now is they're finding, like, of course, black faces. Yo, man, and they're trying to get some, like, street talking motherfucker. Like, yo, man, look, straight up, this is wrong. Can't nobody tell me I can't make it. Can't nobody hold me down. My child ain't gonna be brought up by people holding her back. Nobody should be teaching this shit, man. And it's like, okay, sure. All right, whatever. This is what slave owners did. They took people to sit up there and preach heaven to them so that they could settle their ass down. This is why they didn't let slaves read, because they were afraid that they would, oh shit, they fucking us over.
Right. Have you read this? Well, let me teach you how to read, but then when I teach you how to read, you go check this shit out. Yeah, exactly. I mean,
I hope no one thinks that we are. I mean, I listen. This is my life, and today it just kind of shook me. I was like, wow. You know, you just never know.
I'm not apologizing for anything I say right now.
I'm not apologizing either, but I hope nobody gets kind of. I hope we don't think we're trying to make you feel bad, because we're not.
No, but not trying to make anybody feel bad unless you disagree with me.
See, a real one, right? Exactly what I was talking about earlier, which is Corey is that type of guy who normally just tries his best to fly under the radar, and he gets the battery put in his back by some real ones. But you're hearing what he's saying here, right? And he's talking about himself. Let's just be real. He's talking about himself, right? I'm definitely subscribed again. I wasn't subscribed for quite some time. But I'm definitely subscribed again after this, all right? But let's flip to another example of this. And more so, this is an example of how white people just sort of don't get the point, right? And they sort of fuck up the conversation to a certain degree. But yeah. Also, notice there are no ads on these videos that I'm showing you, right? There are no ads on these videos that I'm showing you. Let me go to another. This is supposed to be a monetized YouTube site or monetized YouTube channel. Let me see. No ads on this.
Right here.
No ads. Now it could be hidden ads, just hidden in, but we'll see. But let me go back to another one. Maybe back in the day. Maybe they definitely probably see. This is the same guy, right?
You honestly want the full truth? I'll give it to you, man. I will. Okay. I'll tell you.
All right.
And I'm going to tell you right now that the shit I'm about to say I've never talked about. So it might be weird.
Basically, I don't want to get into that, but that's not. So I don't know what's going on with the monetization on this channel. But anyways, let's go back to this video. And let's go here.
And it was one bar, most famous of all quotes. This battle is now over. That's all, folks.
July 16th.
Mine is worse. Mine is worse. My reaction was worse when I first saw this.
You broke my boy. Why would you do this, Corey? How many of these are there going to be? Or this is like the third time that they've said
To put this in,
I don't know anything.
to put this in another perspective, so Corey worked on the first Space Jam. He was he was an animator, I believe, on the first Space Jam movie. So this is Space Jam 2, right? And they're doing this sort of stupid shit. So this hits home personally for him a little bit more so as well.
Anymore. I really don't. He's not dead. This is what I'm scared to say.
All right, well, I'm so sorry I put that into the universe. Take it all back. Take it all back. Stay alive, Biz.
Well, let me just say this. If Biz actually does go, like our other fallen rappers are the rappers that have passed away, rest in peace and power, as people say. All these rappers going, thank God that there's up-and-comers who are ready to fill the void with their talents like Porky Pig. I'm sorry, not Porky Pig. That is his. That's his government name. His street name is a little something different. So, if you guys were on the internet last night, you might have noticed that Porky Pig, just out of the blue, decided to drop his mixtape, and a lot of people, they were like, "What? Well, you know what? I refrain from saying anything. Let me let this man's bars and his fire."
Hold on, let me pause for a second. Okay.
Speak for itself.
We rapping? Notorious B.I.G. What up?
Let me just say that my original vision of Space Jam 2, because y'all know I was the original director of Space Jam, never got my credit, got brought back to actually say, all right, I get to do whatever I want to do on Space Jam 2 with a lie. This never would have happened in my version. Never would have happened. This was not in the script. It was not even mentioned and thought about.
And it was one bar, most famous of all quotes. This battle is now over. That's all, folks.
July 16th.
There are so many problems. I'm sorry. There's so many fucking problems. First of all, that's a Notorious B.I.G. song, if I'm not mistaken. No. Let me see. New Flavor in Your Ear, right? Actually, let me go somewhere else. Let me go here. I think that's New Flavor in Your Ear, right? Yes, B.I.G.'s on that one, right? New Flavor in Your Ear. What's the original? That's a Craig Mack song. Why did he say Notorious B.I.G.? Hold on. Let me see. Oh, it's even worse if it's a Craig Mack song, to be honest, but whatever. Was B.I.G. on that song? If he was on the remix or something, come on. Don't tell me. Oh, he was on the original song. That's what I thought. He was on the original song. Exactly. You put Porky Pig on a goddamn Notorious B.I.G. fucking song. How? Or at least one that he rapped on, because I think it was Craig Mack featuring. You put him on a Notorious B.I.G. beat, and he said, let me back this up, because I think he said Notorious B.I.G. as well. That means that Puffy, Sean Puffy Combs, and Bad Boy Entertainment signed off on this fuckery.
Happened in my version. Never would have happened. This was not in the script. It was not even mentioned and thought about.
And it was one bar, most famous of all quotes. This battle is now over. That's all, folks.
No, he doesn't say it in this.
July 16th.
Oh, God.
Oh God. The problems.
God damn, you Warner Brothers.
The problems.
You broke my boy. Why would you do this, Corey?
The problems.
Yeah, people. Space Jam 2. Oh, no, it's all about the story and the characters and the art, right?
My favorite thing is people are going to think that's performative, but I literally saw the light, the joy of living go away from your eyes while watching that.
I'm not a religious person. I'm not a supernatural person, but I actually did feel my soul just seep out my ass. We know that this is the new one with LeBron James playing the part of Michael Jordan this time. There's been a lot of things said about this. There's been a lot of things that people have accused this movie of. And I think those things were just confirmed by what we saw right there.
I don't want to go all this. I'm going to conclude my point very quickly.
This, man. I have so many questions, but the first one being that, like, this isn't a movie made by people without talent, right? You like Ryan Coogler's a producer on this. Terrence Nance, who made Random Acts of Flyness, is a co-writer on this, man. Like Malcolm D. Lee directed it. This is like a lot of people. We talk about the creative talent behind the camera, like reflecting the talent in front of the camera and stuff like that. Now that doesn't really happen. And it's like, oh, we did this. We got like a black lead and we have a black creative team. And I have to sit here and I'm wondering, like, whose idea was that? Because I feel like all of them are way too talented to think that that was a good idea or to not, like, fight the studio trying to get that. It seems to me like the absolute, like, we were all worried about what the worst case scenario was for Space Jam 2. And I'm like, that's it. Our fears have been fully realized, Corey.
Yes. I hear some people out there, after witnessing Porky's performance, they're talking about, oh my God, the bars, Corey, the bars.
To me, he don't want no trouble. I was famous before the internet. Since 1935, I've been getting respect.
The only bar I'm looking for right now, the one serving a nice stiff drink.
See, that's what I'm saying. So when you combine those two things together, when you combine the first video and this video together, you start realizing something very easy, very clear. A large amount of society today cannot exist without us. Culturally, they could not exist without us. They have to tap into us, right? They have to, right? That's why in my other video, I went into, and I didn't post that video. I think I needed to, because I sort of went in on Army, but Army's just gonna have to get the smoke because the other content is important. But I was talking about the fact that the United States is not just simply a place that owes us reparations. It's an experimental hospital, and we're the chimps. We're the chimps. They run all sorts of experiments on, because societally we have been branded not globally, but domestically we have been branded as the people that you can shit on, right? We're the people who can die in a hospital and nobody cares. We're the people who can die in the street and nobody cares. We're the people that a police can shoot in the face and nobody cares. A police can shoot our children and nobody cares, right? That's extremely powerful. So if I wanted to run experiments of all sorts of kind, whether it be social experiments on asymmetrical violence, or if I wanted to run actual medical experiments on a subgroup of people, I have a domestic sourced group of impoverished people who cannot afford adequate representation, and I can run experiments on them. And I know people think, oh, that's a conspiracy theory. Well, no, it's not conspiracy theory. Henrietta Lacks. Yeah. This woman is being biologically experimented on today. And this little heifer decided to do this little stupid movie on her without, instead of actually doing a legal fund to actually help out the lawsuit against this. But this woman, they took cells from her body. Those cells outside of her body are still replicating, which is not something that cells normally do outside of the body. They still survive to this day, right? And a large amount of scientists use her cells for experimentation. So a large amount of the drugs that are made based off of lax cells. All right. And the family doesn't get any money from that. But more importantly, when you start thinking about, they've been growing these cells since the 60s, right? So imagine this, right? She had a body weight of, let's say, and no disrespect to Miss Lax or Mrs. Lax, but let's say she had a body weight of, like, let's say 140 pounds, right? When she was alive. A cell has a certain weight to it, all right? Very, very small, but it has a weight to it, right? She has been replicated in labs across the world since the 1950s, 60s, all the way up until today. So they have literally grown tissue that outweighs the original person to multiple levels and multiples of tens or hundreds. They have produced enough cells that have collected together and weighed would outweigh the original person who created them by multiple times over. More so than that, the family has therefore never laid her to rest. She is alive on a cellular level in laboratories across the world, even though her mind is dead, right? And you have to think to yourself, on a certain level also, whether or not, like in a Chinese lab more specifically, her DNA is a part of those cells, obviously, that are growing. So have they cloned her, all right, as well? You have to think about that type of thing, whether or not she's been a part of any sort of illicit or black market or black project experimentation as well, and whether or not she has been cloned as well. You have to think about that too. But it lets me know, like, this harkens back to, like, I know we were talking about Porky Pig and Henrietta Lacks, so this doesn't really go together. But what I'm saying is that they see us not just as social experiments, but actual experiments. And what we need to do is get the hell away from them. We need to separate ourselves culturally, at the very least. And I think ultimately we have to physically separate ourselves from those individuals. There needs to be a reservation type thing given to Black people from created from the territories or the states of Louisiana and Mississippi. That's what I think. I think you need to come in and make sure that we have port access so that we can make trade or direct trade with Africa and the Caribbean. We need to have that as well. That's the reason why I'm selecting those areas, as well as leasing rights on energy as well, so that we don't have to worry about being starved out for energy or in that situation. Right. So we need to have that. But we need to basically do that in order to not be a part of this country anymore. I don't think that we can. It's very obvious. And it's becoming, like I said, when it becomes obvious to people like this, who have been well groomed by white society, or they think, polished in the side. Hey, you're doing all this work. Great. Just stay over here in this corner. Chris Stuckman, you see what he's doing over there? Yeah, go ahead and do the exact same damn thing and go ahead and get 3.95 million followers. There you go, Chris, and make all that money for us and keep that in white hands over there while you're over there. Okay, cool. Hey, Corey, you were double toasted. Yeah, you stay over in the corner. You keep trying to innovate. You just keep on trying to innovate. And what you do over there, we're going to make sure that this other white person over here or this white Latino over here does the exact same thing. All right. It has parallels beyond that. I don't want to keep on going with this because it's actually kind of pissing me off. But to have Porky Pig rap over fucking a Notorious B.I.G. beat, or at least he was on the beat, right? Is just so disrespectful. It's not even funny. And whoever signed off on that shit, you need to turn in your black card. Sean Puffy Combs, there's been several instances with you, sir. You need to turn in your black card for signing over to that shit for that fucking movie, that you signed over the rights to that song for that fucking movie. Get the entire fuck out of here, man. Get the entire fuck out of here. Honestly. So that's all I have to say. It's very interesting that we have these individuals who are clearly watching Black empowerment, and clearly YouTube is seeing his YouTube history, whatever he's been watching. And that's probably the source of why he's going through what he's going through. I bet you if I go to Social Blade, actually, let me go to Social Blade. Let's go to Social Blade, shall we? Social Blade. Let's go to Double Toasted. Let's see if they've had a decline in viewership or decline in membership or not. I don't want to speak out of turn. So 0. They've been static in the last 30 days. Total views have went down. I don't know how you have negative video views. That's interesting. Total estimated earnings 0. So I guess their channel is no longer monetized. What's going on here? Okay. So they've only added 2,000 people in the last 30 days. Somehow their daily averages is down by 126,000. Weekly averages are down by 84. So what they would normally expect to get in, they're down for the month, almost 3 million views. So I think that, well, over 3 million views, which means that I think it's about $7,000 per million views, roughly. So they're down almost $21,000 for the last 30 days, right? I think. And let's see. Can I adjust this? No, I can't. But this is very interesting. Zero earnings. How? Why? Yeah. So again, they've been on here since 2013. 8 years of content. 2,298 videos. All right. Now, this is not the same sort of content, but I don't like this individual at all. Don't get me wrong. But I think right now he has around about the same level of subscribers, right? He's in the Autosphere only a year earlier than him. Let's see, 49 million views. How many views do they have? 113 million views, right? And he came from absolutely nowhere. So this is not very good apples to oranges type thing. And this is not hate in any way, shape, fashion, or form. But you notice that this is actually showing some sort of monetization, even though YouTube is not his main stream of income, right? So you're talking about a company in the form of doubletoasted.com built on a larger fan following of spill.com, who doesn't have over 1 million subscribers, even though all of his successful copycats have over 1 million or 3 million subscribers. He's currently showing 0 monetization with a negative 3 million views in the last 30 days. Come on, bro. Come on. But like I said, if you're using YouTube, just look at other content that is Black empowerment based, which I can clearly see. He's been watching certain people based off of the narratives that have come out of his mouth. It's very interesting that company is now doing their tricks that they're doing because they're fearful of that content or showing up on his channel as well. even though Tariq Nasheed is still monetized. That's funny. Tariq Nasheed is still monetized, but doubletoasted.com isn't, or it doesn't seem to be at the very least. Based off of this, doesn't seem to be monetized. But Tariq Nasheed and his "We All Maroons" ass is tells you who's the token and who's not. But anyways, for the people at doubletoasted.com, still keep doing what you're doing, man. I'm definitely a supporter as of right now. If that changes in the future, it will change abruptly. I don't give a damn. But I'm definitely a supporter right now. Keep doing what y'all doing. But yeah, you're right. You guys are the originators of a large amount of this shit, and you still haven't gotten your dues. So keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing. And exactly. Yeah, it's very funny how there's no ads. But anyways, I'm out, y'all. I'm out. Well, you, ISIS. I'm out. Bye.